Welcome to Games and Names. Tonight, we explore the world of roller derby. Originating in the 1930s, roller derby has evolved into a fast-paced, full-contact sport loved worldwide. Teams compete on an oval track, with jammers scoring points by lapping blockers. Skill and strategy are crucial in this physically demanding game. We'll delve into the history and rules of roller derby, highlighting its evolution and key gameplay elements. Additionally, we'll spotlight top international players who have significantly impacted the sport. Roller derby is a fast-paced and thrilling sport with a rich history dating back to the 1930s. Originally a form of endurance race on roller skates, roller derby evolved into a competitive full-contact sport with a focus on strategy and athleticism. The game is typically played on an oval track, with two teams of 5 skaters each competing to score points by lapping members of the opposing team.
Roller derby is a fast-paced, full-contact sport played on roller skates, typically on an oval track, that combines elements of strategy, athleticism, and spectacle. It has grown from a form of sports entertainment in the early 20th century into a serious competitive sport practiced by thousands around the world. The history of roller derby can be traced back to the 1930s in the United States, particularly to promoter Leo Seltzer, who organized endurance roller skating events known as roller marathons. These events evolved into a more structured competition in the late 1930s when the concept of teams skating in a pack and scoring points by lapping opponents was introduced. This shift turned roller derby from a mere endurance test into a dynamic, action-filled sporting contest. During the 1940s and 1950s, roller derby gained popularity in the U.S., often televised and drawing huge crowds. By the 1960s and 1970s, theatrical elements such as staged fights and dramatic rivalries were introduced, which made the sport resemble professional wrestling in presentation. However, this focus on entertainment led to a decline in credibility and ultimately caused the sport's decline in mainstream popularity. In the early 2000s, roller derby experienced a dramatic grassroots revival, led predominantly by women in Austin, Texas, who aimed to reclaim the sport as an empowering and legitimate athletic pursuit. This new wave emphasized athleticism, DIY ethics, and community, with leagues often run by the skaters themselves. The revival sparked the formation of hundreds of new amateur leagues around the world, often operating under flat track rules developed by the Women's Flat Track Derby Association, WFTDA, the sport's largest governing body. The modern game of roller derby is played on either a flat or banked oval track, with flat tracks being more common due to their accessibility and ease of setup. Each game, or bout, consists of two 30-minute periods, divided into units called jams, each lasting up to 2 minutes. Two teams of up to 15 players each field 5 skaters at a time, 4 blockers and 1 jammer. The jammer, identified by a star on their helmet, scores points by lapping members of the opposing team. The blockers work together to hinder the opposing jammer while helping their own jammer navigate the pack. One of the blockers on each team can be designated as a pivot, wearing a striped helmet cover, who may receive the star from the jammer and take over their role. Legal contact zones include the upper arms, torso, and hips, while blocking with elbows, tripping, or targeting the back or head are considered penalties. Penalties result in a 30-second trip to the penalty box, during which the offending team is temporarily shorthanded. The strategic complexity of roller derby comes from the dual nature of play, where skaters must simultaneously play offense and defense. The most important championships in roller derby are organized by various governing bodies, the foremost of which is the Women's Flat Track Derby Association, WFTDA, which organizes the WFTDA playoffs and the WFTDA Championships, the premier competitions for women's roller derby. These events gather the top-ranked leagues from around the world and determine the annual world champion of flat track roller derby. Since 2006, when the first WFTDA Championships were held, the tournament has grown in scope and prestige. Another key organization is the Men's Roller Derby Association, MRDA, which oversees competitive play and championships for men's teams. Additionally, the Junior Roller Derby Association, JRDA, supports leagues and competitions for youth skaters. On the international stage, the Roller Derby World Cup, organized by Blood and Thunder magazine and later by the Roller Derby World Cup Committee, brings together national teams from around the globe in a celebration of international competition. The first Roller Derby World Cup took place in 2011 in Toronto, Canada, with Team USA taking the inaugural title. Subsequent editions in 2014, 2018, and beyond have seen growing participation from countries such as Australia, England, Canada, and France, reflecting the sport's increasing global reach. In terms of countries where roller derby is most prominent, the United States remains the undisputed leader, being the birthplace and epicenter of both the original and modern roller derby movements. The U.S. hosts the majority of the top-ranked leagues, including Gotham Girls Roller Derby, New York, Rose City Rollers, Portland, and Texas Roller Girls, Austin. These leagues have consistently dominated WFTDA championships and set standards in training, strategy, and organization.
Roller derby in Egypt has a rich and fascinating history that dates back several decades. The sport gained popularity in the country in the early 2000s and has since grown to become a significant part of Egypt's sporting culture. One of the most important championships in the game is the Egyptian Roller Derby Championship, which brings together teams from across the country to compete for the title.
Roller derby in Egypt is a relatively new and emerging sport that is steadily gaining attention among youth and sports communities, especially in urban centers like Cairo and Alexandria. Although roller derby does not yet have the widespread popularity or long-standing tradition it holds in countries like the United States or the United Kingdom, it has found its place within Egypt's growing interest in alternative and extreme sports. The introduction of roller derby in Egypt can be traced back to the early 2010s, when global exposure to the sport through social media, documentaries, and international sporting events inspired local skating communities to explore organized team-based roller sports. Initially, the skating scene in Egypt was largely focused on recreational rollerblading and inline skating, which were popular among young people as forms of urban sport, especially in public parks and large open spaces like Al-Azhar Park and the Cairo International Stadium area. However, interest in roller derby specifically began to take shape when Egyptian roller skaters, particularly women, sought to establish a more structured and competitive framework that blended athleticism, team spirit, and empowerment, aligning with the global grassroots ethos of modern roller derby. The formation of roller derby teams in Egypt began informally, with skaters gathering for practice sessions in open spaces, parking lots, or any location where a flat surface could be used to simulate a derby track. Early enthusiasts were inspired by online videos, rulebooks, and training guides from the Women's Flat Track Derby Association, WFTDA, which provided the foundational knowledge for starting teams and organizing bouts. While the sport's infrastructure, such as official flat tracks, derby-specific skates, safety gear, and trained referees, was largely unavailable in the beginning, determined individuals and small communities began to piece together the essentials from what was locally accessible or imported through friends and supporters abroad. The first loosely organized roller derby gatherings in Egypt were more about building community and spreading awareness than holding formal competitions, and these meetups played a crucial role in recruiting new skaters, developing skills, and fostering a shared sense of mission among participants. It was during this foundational period that Egypt's first roller derby team concepts began to form, with informal team names, logos, and identities being developed to encourage unity and visibility. One of the most notable milestones in the early history of Egyptian roller derby was the establishment of the country's first official roller derby league. Though the name and structure of the initial league evolved over time, its formation marked a significant step toward organized sport. With the help of international derby communities, particularly through online mentorship and partnerships with skaters in Europe and North America, Egyptian skaters were able to conduct their first rule-compliant scrimmages, learning the essentials of gameplay such as jamming, blocking, pivoting, and penalties. The league also began to promote the sport through public demonstrations, social media campaigns, and collaborations with roller sports festivals, which helped garner public interest and attract more participants. Over time, training programs were developed to teach new skaters the basics of derby skating, safety practices, and game rules. These programs were especially focused on empowering women and girls, providing them with an inclusive space to express strength, athleticism, and leadership in a traditionally male-dominated sports environment. In terms of championships, while Egypt has yet to host or participate in internationally recognized roller derby championships such as the WFTDA playoffs or the Roller Derby World Cup, there have been important local and regional events that serve as milestones in the sports development within the country. The first national roller derby showcase event in Egypt, though unofficial in the eyes of international bodies, was held in the late 2010s and featured a friendly competition between teams formed from Cairo-based skaters. This event attracted attention from local media outlets, alternative sports blogs, and amateur sports photographers, helping to raise the profile of roller derby in the Egyptian sports conversation. In the early 2020s, Egyptian roller derby participants began discussing the establishment of a formal governing body or national committee that could work in partnership with the Egyptian Ministry of Youth and Sports, aiming to secure official recognition of roller derby as a national sport. This step would be crucial for receiving government support, public funding, access to sporting facilities, and opportunities to compete in African or Arab regional tournaments under the official banner of Egypt. The hope is that in the coming years, Egypt will be able to not only host recognized championships but also send its national teams to compete on the global stage, bringing African and Arab representation into the international derby community.
Scald Eagle, a prominent figure in the world of roller derby, has left an indelible mark on the sport with her exceptional skills and achievements. Born as Lauren Much, Scald Eagle adopted her fierce persona on the roller derby track and has become a renowned name in the roller derby community.
Scald Eagle, whose real name is Kendra Gaunt, is one of the most iconic and celebrated players in modern roller derby history. She is known for her explosive power, remarkable athleticism, and commanding presence on the track. Her career has been deeply influential in shaping the competitive evolution of women's flat track roller derby, particularly through her time with two of the sport's most elite teams, the Rose City Rollers from Portland, Oregon, and later Denver Roller Derby in Colorado. Scald Eagle's rise in the roller derby world coincided with a critical period of the sport's global expansion and increasing tactical sophistication, and her unique blend of speed, strength, and intelligence quickly distinguished her as one of the most dominant jammers in the Women's Flat Track Derby Association, WFTDA, the sport's premier governing body. Standing at over 6 feet tall, Scald Eagle combined her physical stature with unparalleled agility and precision, allowing her to slice through defensive walls, evade blockers with slick footwork, and score high points in pressure situations. She originally joined the Rose City Rollers, a team that was already a strong competitor in WFTDA tournaments, and immediately made an impact on the team's performance and national reputation. Scald Eagle's career with the Rose City Rollers reached a pinnacle in 2015 when the team won its first ever WFTDA championship, breaking the years-long dominance of the Gotham Girls Roller Derby from New York. That championship, held in St. Paul, Minnesota, was a defining moment not only for the Rose City Rollers but also for Scald Eagle herself, who played a crucial role in the final victory. In the championship bout, Rose City faced Gotham, a team that had won the previous 4 championships and was considered nearly unbeatable at the time. Scald Eagle's dynamic performance as jammer, her ability to execute crucial passes under extreme pressure, and her leadership on the track helped push Rose City to a narrow 206-195 victory, a win that would go down as one of the most historic moments in modern derby. Her performance in that tournament earned her widespread acclaim, including the MVP award, and solidified her position as one of the top athletes in the sport. Beyond the 2015 championship, Scald Eagle remained a key player in Rose City's continued success, including repeat appearances in the WFTDA championships and top finishes in the years that followed. Her role extended beyond just scoring. She served as a leader, mentor, and emotional core for her teammates. After several successful seasons with Rose City, Scald Eagle made the strategic decision to transfer to Denver Roller Derby, another high-level WFTDA team known for its strong defensive play and high-caliber athletes. This move was seen as a major shakeup in the roller derby world and demonstrated Scald Eagle's continued ambition to grow as a player and contribute to the sport in new environments. After several successful seasons with Rose City, Scald Eagle made the strategic decision to transfer to Denver Roller Derby, another high-level WFTDA team known for its strong defensive play and high-caliber athletes. This move was seen as a major shakeup in the roller derby world and demonstrated Scald Eagle's continued ambition to grow as a player and contribute to the sport in new environments. With Denver, she continued to perform at an elite level, bringing with her the experience of championship play and a reputation that forced opposing teams to adapt specifically to counter her presence.
Lady Trample is a dominant force in roller derby, known for her exceptional skill and strategic prowess. With many years in the sport, she has secured multiple championships, showcasing her dedication and talent on the track.
Lady Trample, known for her exceptional footwork, agility, and creative playing style that have redefined the expectations of what a roller derby jammer can do on the track, and her story is one of international impact. Starting in her native New Zealand, where she began her career as a skater and quickly rose to prominence due to her extraordinary balance, quick cuts, and instinctive feel for the game. Originally skating with Auckland Roller Derby and becoming a national star in the New Zealand roller derby scene before moving on to greater challenges abroad, where her talents would take her to the highest levels of competition in the Women's Flat Track Derby Association, WFTDA, first with the Victorian Roller Derby League, VRDL, in Melbourne, Australia, which was a major turning point not only for her career but for the global roller derby community, as VRDL was building a reputation as the top team outside the United States and was seeking to finally dethrone the long-standing American dominance in the WFTDA championships, and Lady Trample's addition to their roster in 2016 gave them a critical boost in terms of both talent and leadership, as she quickly became one of the team's most important jammers with her signature jukes, sidesteps, and pinpoint edge control that allowed her to slip past even the most experienced blockers, and her footwork was so precise and unique that many compared her to figure skaters or dancers, often appearing to float across the track while maintaining full speed and control, which made her extremely difficult to contain or predict. And during her time with VRDL, the team made history by winning the WFTDA championships in 2017, defeating the Rose City Rollers in the final, and becoming the first non-US team to ever win the title, a groundbreaking moment that marked a shift in the power dynamics of global roller derby and established VRDL as an elite program with Lady Trample as one of its brightest stars, and her contributions to that victory were immense. Not only in terms of points scored but also her ability to set the pace of the game, keep her team calm under pressure, and lead by example with her consistency and grace. And this win was followed by more deep championship runs in subsequent seasons, including top finishes in the WFTDA playoffs and championships, with Lady Trample consistently being recognized as one of the best jammers in the game, earning All-Star nominations and MVP honors along the way. And what made her especially admired was not just her talent but her creativity, as she helped introduce new strategies and approaches to jamming that focused on evasion and deception rather than brute force. giving inspiration to smaller or lighter skaters who saw in her a model of success based on technique and intelligence rather than pure size or power, and after achieving historic success with VRDL. Lady Trample made another significant move in her career when she joined Denver Roller Derby in the United States, continuing her legacy in one of the WFTDA's most respected and competitive leagues, where she brought her trademark skill set and international experience to a team hungry for its first championship, and alongside other stars like Scald Eagle, she helped Denver reach new competitive heights, leading them to top finishes in WFTDA tournaments and maintaining a spot in the global top.
Bonnie Thunders, a prominent figure in roller derby, has established herself as one of the most skilled and accomplished players in the sport's history. With a career spanning over a decade, she has left an indelible mark on the game through her exceptional talent and unwavering dedication.
Bonnie Thunders, whose real name is Nicole Williams, is widely regarded as one of the greatest and most influential roller derby players in the history of the sport. Her legacy is defined by her incredible skill as a jammer, her unmatched strategic mind, her consistency and discipline on the track, and her leadership both on and off it. Bonnie Thunders rose to prominence during the early years of the Women's Flat Track Derby Association, WFTDA, era and quickly became a household name among roller derby fans worldwide for her ability to dominate games with graceful agility, unparalleled track awareness, and near unbeatable jammer skills. Her career began with the Gotham Girls Roller Derby in New York City, one of the most iconic and successful roller derby leagues in the world, and it was there that she would go on to set new standards of performance and become the central figure in building one of the greatest dynasties in roller derby history. Bonnie Thunders was instrumental in transforming Gotham from a competitive team into a roller derby powerhouse, serving not just as a top skater but also as a coach, mentor, and tactical innovator. Her commitment to fitness, her emphasis on teamwork and discipline, and her almost supernatural ability to read the game in real time made her a player that opposing teams feared and respected in equal measure. One of the most defining chapters of Bonnie Thunders' career was her dominance at the WFTDA Championships with Gotham Girls Roller Derby. Under her leadership and with her standout performances, Gotham won 4 consecutive WFTDA Championships from 2011 to 2014, a feat no other league had accomplished at the time. These victories did not come easily, as they were earned against some of the toughest competition in the sport's history, including legendary teams like Texas Roller Girls, Denver Roller Derby, and Rose City Rollers.